Okay, thanks, Kristen. Welcome, council staff and residents to the regular planning meeting for Tuesday, December the 2nd, 2025, and we are being streamed live. Councillor Derry sends his regrets. So at that, I will call the meeting to order with the land acknowledgement. We are meeting today on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Huron-Wendat, Anishinaabe, and Haudenosaunee peoples. We acknowledge our shared obligation to respect, honor, and sustain these lands and the natural resources contained within. We honor their cultures and celebrate their commitment to this land. We would also like to acknowledge the Mohawk and Algonquin nations whose traditional and unceded territory we are gathered upon today. Hastings County is situated on treaty land that is steeped in rich Indigenous history and home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people. Next is need a motion to approve the agenda of the planning meeting of the Council of the Municipality of Marmon Lake for Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025. Eric, and second, Mike, any discussion on the agenda? All in favor? That's carried. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest? Being none. Need a motion that the minutes of the planning meeting of the Council of the Municipality of Marmon Lake held Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025 be approved. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Jane and Mike. Any discussion on those planning minutes? All in favor? That's carried. Public meetings. This is the time set aside to permit anyone in attendance to speak in favor or in opposition to the zoning amendments. Public input will be received by council if a person or public body would otherwise have an ability to appeal the decision of the municipal council for the municipality of Marmon Lake to the Ontario Land Tribunal, that the person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the municipality of Marmon Lake before the bylaw is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submission to the municipal council for the municipality of Marmon Lake before the bylaw is passed, the person or public body may not be added as party to the hearing of an appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to do so. So the first file is the proposed zoning bylaw amendment for Tangamong Lake, Marmon Lake. The subject lands are presently zoned limited service residential to holding. The purpose of the application is to rezone the severed and retained lands from limited service residential to holding zone to the limited service residential 10 holding zone, limited service residential 11 holding zone, and limited service residential 12 holding zone to fill condition number 6 of consent to sever application numbers B154/24 and B155/24. Is there anyone here or online that wishes to speak to this file? No? Okay, thank you. The next file, proposed zoning bylaw amendment 1542 Shannick Road, Marmon Lake. The subject lands are presently zoned marginal agricultural. The purpose of the application is to rezone the severed lands from marginal agricultural zone to the rural residential zone with environmental protection zone to remain, to fulfill condition number 8 of consent to sever application number 150 B152/24. Is there anyone wishing to speak to that file? Okay. Karen, can you turn your camera on, please? I can't see. Okay, there. Yeah. Okay, please.
Karen, do you wish to speak to this file? 1542 Shannock Road? There she is.
You're
You've
muted,
just,
so
yeah, you've got your microphone muted.
He's gone looking, he's been looking for 3 months for a chunk for his bobcat that he lost somewhere here. We can't plow with nothing.
There you go.
Hello? His truck is at the garage,
Karen,
so everything's fucked.
Don't turn it off.
Well, it's not working and I ain't pissing around. They're in a public meeting. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Should have been out here and helped me.
We can see you and hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, now I can. Sorry about that.
Hey,
go ahead, Karen.
I just don't understand, like, because I'm
I
at
knew that.
425 Shannock Road and
Yeah.
it's all forestry around me. And I
What's
just want to make sure that it's left for the wildlife, like around where I am.
oh shit. That's one of the sisters?
Hello?
Oh, fuck.
We, so Karen,
Can't
Yeah.
hear what?
is that all you wish to say?
Yeah, I just don't understand what's going on, really.
Would you like Emily to speak to the, would that help?
Everybody is,
Sure, I just
It's
want to make
like-
sure that,
everybody
like,
dying.
my property's still gonna be all forestry.
Okay, I'll ask Emily to maybe explain, please.
Of course. So through Madam Chair. So
Okay.
hi Karen, it's good to meet you in person.
Hi.
I didn't speak yesterday. Yeah,
That's
so just
fucking-
describe what's
but I'll
going
have to
on.
tell Brenda
So
about
the
it.
purpose of the rezoning is just to rezone a portion of your neighbor's property because they are going through this severance process to create a separate property. So nothing will affect your property, your taxes, your zoning will all remain the same. It's just they're proposing a lot that's less than 15 acres in size. So we don't necessarily want to have those marginal agricultural uses on a lot that's less than 15 acres. So this has to be rezoned to rural residential, which will only permit a single detached dwelling generally, and some other uses auxiliary to that, but generally the primary use is residential, just for one single detached dwelling.
You're muted, Karen. Can you unmute? There,
Is that better?
that's better.
Okay, sorry, I'm new with this computer stuff.
So did that explain satisfactorily what's happening?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anything further? Anyone else wishing to speak? Did you have anything further to add, Emily?
Nope, it is a condition of severance, so you have seen the file for the severance aspect before, so it's fairly straightforward of a rezoning, but I'm happy to answer any questions anyone might have.
Okay. Here, have any? Okay, thank you. The next file is proposed zoning bylaw amendment 621 Cook Road, Marmorant Lake. The subject lands are presently zoned recreational/resort commercial. The purpose of the application is to rezone the severed lands from recreational/resort commercial zone to the limited service residential zone to fulfill condition number 6 of consent to sever application numbers B47/24, B48/24, and B131/24. Is there anyone that wishes to speak to this file? No? And there's no one, there's someone online? No? Okay. So if no one wishes to speak, we'll move on to the zoning amendments reports. Zoning amendment bylaw number 2025-61P, Pangamong Lake. Legal description, concession 2, part lots 21 to 24, registered plan 21R-26367, parts 1 to 3. And the recommendation is that the planning staff report dated November 25th, 2025, regarding the zoning bylaw amendment file number 2025-61P for the property legally described as concession 2, part lots 21 to 24, registered plan 21R-26367, parts 1 to 3, County of Hastings and located on Pangamong Lake be received. and that the proposed zoning bylaw amendment 2025-61P for the lands legally described as concession 2, part lots 21 to 24, registered plan 21R 26367, parts 1 to 3, County of Hastings and located on Tangamong Lake, be recommended for council adoption. Can I have a mover and a seconder for that, please? Mike and Eric, any comments or questions on that recommendation?
Yes.
Being none, all in favor? That's carried. Zoning amendment bylaw number 2025-62P, 1542 Shannick Road. The legal description, concession 6, part lot 20. Recommendation is that the planning staff report dated November 25th, 2025, regarding the zoning bylaw amendment file number 2025-62P, legally described as concession 6, part lot 20, County of Hastings and located at 1542 Shannick Road, be received, and that the proposed zoning bylaw amendment 2025-62P for the lands legally described as concession 6, part lot 20, County of Hastings and located at 1542 Shannick Road, be recommended for council adoption. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Eric, and second Mike. Any discussion on that recommendation? Any questions? No? Okay. All in favor? That's carried. Zoning amendment bylaw number 2025-63P, 621 Cook Road. Legal description, concession 2, part lot 12, registered plan 21R 8578, parts 1, 3, and 4. And the recommendation is that the planning staff report dated November 25th, 2025, regarding the zoning bylaw amendment file number D 14-01-2025, legally described as concession 2, part lot 12, registered plan 21R 85-8578, parts 1, 3, and 4, County of Hastings, and located 621 Cook Road, be received, and that the proposed zoning bylaw amendment 2025-63P for the lands legally described as concession 2, part lot 12, registered plan 21R-8578, parts 1, 3, and 4, County of Hastings and located at 621 Cook Road, be recommended for council adoption. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Jane, and second, Mike. Any questions or comments? Jane?
I have a question just for clarification, and I'm not sure whether I'm ahead of the game, whether it's a 63P or 65P. I'll ask for correction from Emily on that. In the recommendations, is the wording of the recommendation taken into account in the wording of the bylaw? I hope I'm making myself clear.
Through you, Madam Chair. Generally they're written together, so they generally are. So the bylaw is drafted currently. We always can make an amendment if that's the desire of council. Generally they're written at the same time, so they're drafted at the same time. So they are generally very similar to each other. I'm not sure if that answers your question.
I guess I just want to make sure. It says here that a permit from the CVCTA will be required for development. That is taken into account in the passing or in the wording of the bylaw.
So again, through you, Madam Chair, so not necessarily in the bylaw, that's actually under a different requirement. So that's under its own case law. So that would be its own building code requirement. So before a building permit can be issued, a permit from CVCA would be required. There's no need to include that in the bylaw itself, because that is already part of the law.
Okay, so thank you for the clarification.
Of course.
Thanks, Emily. So we've got a mover and a seconder. Any other comments or questions? All in favor? That's carried. Move on to the bylaws. Bylaw number 2025-61P zoning amendment for Tangamong Lake. The recommendation is that bylaw 2025-61P, being a bylaw to amend the comprehensive zoning bylaw number 2003-11 as amended, be read and passed the second day of December 2025. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Eric? And second, Jane? Any questions? All in favor? That's carried. Bylaw number 2025-62P zoning amendment 1542 Shannick Road. And the recommendation is that bylaw 2025-62P, being a bylaw to amend the comprehensive zoning bylaw number 2003-11 as amended, be read and passed the second day of December 2025. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Mike and Eric, any comments or questions on that bylaw? All in favor? That's carried. Bylaw number 2025-63P zoning amendment 621 Cook Road. The recommendation is that bylaw 2025-63P, being a bylaw to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw number 2003-11 as amended, be read and passed the second day of December 2025. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Eric, and second, Jane. Any comments? All in favor? That's carried. Confirming bylaw number 2025-65P. And the recommendation is that bylaw 2025-65P, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the planning meeting of council held on the second day of December 2025, be read and passed the second day of December 2025. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Eric, and second, Mike. All in favor? That's carried. Need a motion to adjourn. Jane, and Mike. Thank you. So next is the Committee of Adjustment. Do you need some time, Kristen, to set up for that? You ready? Give me a second here to. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Again, welcome to the Committee of Adjustment for Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025. And I'll call the meeting to order at 5:48 with the land acknowledgement. We are meeting today on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Huron-Wendat, Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee peoples. We acknowledge our shared obligation to respect, honor, and sustain these lands and the natural resource contained within. We honor their cultures and celebrate their commitment to this land. We would also like to acknowledge the Mohawk and Algonquin nations whose traditional and unceded territory we are gathered upon today. Hastings County is situated on treaty land that is steeped in rich Indigenous history and home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people. So I need the first motion is that the agenda for the Municipality of Marmor Lake Committee of Adjustment meeting for Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025 be approved as presented. And I have a mover and a seconder, Eric, and second, Mike. Any comments or questions on that agenda? All in favor? That's carried. there any declaration of pecuniary interest? Being none, I need next is a recommendation that the foregoing minutes of the Municipality of Marmon Lake Committee of Adjustment meeting held Tuesday, July 15th, 2025 be approved. I have a mover and a seconder for that, please. Jane and Mike. All in favor? That's carried. Application is minor variance for 34 Jasper Crescent. Concession 10, part lot 31, plan 1974, part 10, 107, RP 21R 13463, part 2. And the purpose of the application is to permit an accessory structure. The applicant has requested relief from the following policies of zoning bylaw number 2003-11. Section 5.25.1. The total lot coverage of accessory buildings and structures including detached private garages, shall not exceed 5% of the lot area except where a swimming pool or tennis court is provided, in which case the total lot coverage for accessory uses shall not exceed 20%. In no case shall the lot coverage of all buildings on a lot exceed the maximum lot coverage of the principal use set out in the applicable provisions of this bylaw. The application requests approval of an accessory structure with a lot coverage of 5.1%. Section 5.25.2. Any accessory building which is not part of the main building shall be erected to the rear of the projected front or exterior side wall of the main building. Where accessory buildings are located behind the main buildings, they shall be located in accordance with the provision of that particular zone. The proposed accessory building is located in the projected front yard of the projected front wall of the main building. 10.3B2. For accessory buildings not attached to the principal building, interior side yard minimum 1 meters. The applicant requests approval of an accessory structure with a setback of 0.30 meters. And 10.3B4. For accessory buildings not attached to the principal building, building height maximum 4.5 meters. The application requests approval of an accessory structure with a height of 5.6 meters. This is the time set aside to permit anyone who requested to speak in favor of or in opposition to the minor variance application. Public input will be received by the Committee of Adjustment. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at the public meeting or make written submissions to the Municipality of Marmon Lake within 20 days of the bylaw passing, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the Committee of Adjustment to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Excuse me. So we don't need anything. There's nobody that's present. There was somebody online earlier, but that's not. Okay. So we don't need to do anything. We don't need a recommendation or anything on that. Okay. 6.1, minor variance D 13-07-2025, 34 Jasper Crescent, concession 10, part lot 31, plan 1974, part 107, reference plan 21R 13463, part 2. And the recommendation is that the minor variance application D13-07-2025 for lands located at 34 Jasper Crescent, Marmon Lake, legally described as concession 10, part lot 31, plan 1974, part 107, reference plan 21R 13463, part 2, Municipality of Marmon Lake, to permit an accessory structure with a lot coverage of 5.1% to be located in front of the projected front wall of the main building. Excuse me, a setback of 0.3 meters and a height of 5.6 meters be deferred until such time as the applicant can review comments received from a neighboring property owner, which allege that the information provided in the application is incorrect, and provide a formal response. Can I have a mover and a seconder for that, please? Mike, second. Jane, any discussion on that recommendation? Being none, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Motion to adjourn. Mike, second. Jane, thank you.